Hi, this is James Gordon of October Library here with my first book review in the Summer Slaughter trilogy. Sorry this took longer than it should have. Let's just say this month has been crazy. Anyway, the book I am talking about today is Kill Riff by David J. Schow. This was published in 1988 by Tord. I discovered this book through a Facebook group. Someone posted a review on David J. Schow's collection, Seen Red, which is also on my wish list, and I was like, well, this looks interesting. So I looked up the offer, and when I saw this book cover, which is, I absolutely love this book cover, how sick it is. Electric guitar with a hand about to grip the neck, and the strings are turned to razor blades on the top. It's just really sick. I really like it. When I saw this book and when I read the plot, I was like, ooh, this sounds really interesting. So I got this from a used bookstore, and this is definitely a book that is one of my favorites. And if you haven't heard of this book, I recommend that you definitely check it out after my review, because this thing, I am not lying, it will literally rock your face off after reading it, because that's what it did to me after I finished reading it. And what makes me like this offer even more is the fact that he wrote the screenplay for Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, which is my favorite out of the series. So after I finished reading the Kill Riff and discovered he wrote the screenplay for this movie, which is my favorite, I was like, I even like this guy even more. So I definitely want to check out more of books by David J. Schow. All right. Enough talk. Let's get on to the review. Plot. Christian, a lovely 16-year-old girl, is attending a heavy metal concert with two of her friends at the Civic Auditorium. They are watching one of the most popular heavy metal bands of all time, Whip Hand. However, Christian feels trapped as the whole stadium is jam-packed with lots of fans, and during the intense song, when the lead vocalist, Gabriel Standard, is taking off his golden vest and goes to toss it into the crowd, when all hell breaks loose. The crowd pushes and shoves everyone out of the way to reach the stage Whip Hand is on. Christian, who is up front, is unable to escape, and when security guards try keeping the crowd back, it quickly turns into a riot. The crowd begins punching their way through the guards as they are powerless to stop them. Those who are caught in this riot are knocked to the floor and are crushed to death by the insane fans. Christian is one of the 13 victims during this tragedy. All members of Whip Hand flee the scene but refuse to cancel their tour and show no care for any of their fans who died that day. Vietnam vet Lucas Ellington lost his daughter to that concert. He didn't care about his bitchy wife, but Christian meant everything to him. Outrage from victims of the family and friends demand justice. All the band members of Whip Hand, including their manager who planned out the Civic Auditorium concert, are not charged for any crimes, not guilty for a single thing. Lucas and many others are angered by this. Lucas then goes to shoot Gabriel Standard with a pistol, but is knocked to the floor by one of their bodyguards. However, it was a toy gun, so he can't be charged with attempted murder, and it is let go by police. But this event has spooked Gabriel. Even though Whip Hand has split up, Lucas isn't going to let any of those band members walk away from the death of his daughter. Lucas goes to his cabin in Point Pitt, where he retrieves his weapons and gear he stored after his tour in the Vietnam War. Lucas then visits a music store, buys a bunch of albums of both Whip Hand and other members who have gone solo or joined other bands, while getting information on where these members are. Lucas tracks down the first member, Jackson Knox, playing his solo career at the Rockhound Club. Lucas knocks out a roadie, disguises himself as the roadie, allowing him access to Jackson Knox's equipment. Lucas then sets up a claymore mine and connects it to his foot switch, which Jackson presses it while warm to the crowd. Jackson is killed after setting off the mine, while the roadie is pinned for his murder. Lucas then travels to Denver to kill the next member of Whip Hand, Brian Hardeland, now playing in a big power metal group, Electric Shock. Lucas poses as a bodyguard with a case of beer for the band and learns each member has chosen a different hotel to avoid both fans and the media. From another band member of Electric Shock, Lucas tricks him to giving up Brian's hotel room by stating his gear got misplaced from the other band that's playing with them by the roadies, so he can tell Brian what's missing. Once Lucas finds Brian's room, he picks the lock, allowing himself into his room, then puts on surgical gloves and takes out a combat knife. When Brian shows up, Lucas turns on the TV, cranking up the volume to block out the noise, allows Brian in, stating another member of Strict Laser will help them find the missing gear. Before Brian can react, Lucas stabs the knife into his chest cavity, twisting the blade, but Brian tries pulling away. Quickly, Lucas stabs him in the neck, killing him as the whole hotel room is covered in blood. Lucas then takes out a spray paint can and paints a cross next to the dead body and writes "Kill Satanic Rock" to fool the police that the killer is a religious person who murdered Brian Harlan. Meanwhile in Los Angeles, Sarah, a psychiatrist who helped Lucas in the past after the events of his daughter, strongly believes that Lucas is behind the two murders of the ex-band members of Whip Hand after hearing the news reports and knows Lucas' hatred for Whip Hand. She confronts his friend and war buddy, Bert, who Lucas told him he was heading to his cabin up at Point Pitt after his last session with Sarah. Fearing that Lucas might kill more people if he isn't stopped, so Bert agrees to take Sarah to his cabin. However, Bert states he hopes that Lucas isn't behind these murders and that Sarah is just overreacted and they'll find him roasting marshmallows over a campfire and laugh at them for thinking he was in trouble. Lucas then travels to Tucson, Arizona to hunt down the two ex-Whip Hand members, Pepper Hart's Mad Max and Jackal Rickman, during an outdoor concert. Dressed in all black and hiding inside an air conditioner air duct as cover to allow Lucas to take out the two members using a Dragunov sniper rifle with a high-powered scope, while waiting for the right moment to take out his targets. The band begins playing their fan-favorite song, which causes Lucas to hesitate, having flashbacks to Christian's death. While scanning the audience for the scope to regain focus, Lucas spots Christian among the crowd and sees all the band members are now Whip Hand. Enraged, Lucas executes every band member with headshots, blowing their heads to pieces. He quickly flees the scene when a security guard is alerted to his area. Gabriel Standard, leader of Whip Hand, who's been playing it safe with heavy security, he rarely goes anywhere alone and mostly stays in his fancy mansion. While jamming with his closest friends, he hires a private investigator to keep a close eye on Lucas, but has lost to making Gabriel paranoid. However, when Gabriel hears the news that his ex-band members are murdered, Gabriel knows who's behind it, and Lucas is coming for him next. Gabriel uses his underground connections to buy an arsenal of powerful weapons, then hires his closest friends to terminate Lucas and keeps a Smith & Wesson Model 29 fully loaded as he refuses to be an easy target. But will it be enough to stop a highly trained vet who is becoming more dangerous with each kill Lucas does, along with his mind-losing touch for reality? Even if it means his own death, Lucas won't stop till Gabriel is dead. The first time I read The Kill Riff, this novel literally rocked my face up. It took me to some dark places along with sudden twists and turns that you don't see coming. Very well crafted and layered characters within the detailed world of the story. Schow also adds a lot of rock and roll and metal trivia within the story too. While this novel was a blast, my only complaint was the ending. As scenes begin to move faster with action, I was hoping for a showdown between Lucas and Gabriel, which didn't play out how I wanted it to. Also, I wish that Schow added a scene where Gabriel is talking about the disaster at the Silk Auditorium concert and what's his opinion on that event, as he never talks about it nor brings it up during the novel. He states how much he loves his fans and as they love him, but never brings up that event or how Gabriel felt about the death of his fans. Overall, The Kill Riff is a great novel. If you're looking for something to take you on a dark journey not knowing what's going to happen next, then check out The Kill Riff by David J. Schow. It's a blast. You know, a lot of good books I read, I can see that a lot of them will make really good movies, and I really wish that this could be made into a film with an R rating, of course, because PG-13, you can't do jack shit with it, but I have two actors in mind who could play in this role, who could play like the two lead roles, if this was to be made to a movie, like today or something. I was thinking Carl Urban to play the role of Lucas Ellington as the Vietnam vet, and for the role of Gabriel Standard, I was thinking Keanu Reeves. He would be perfect, playing like this, kind of like psychotic rock star who's obsessed with himself and violence, of course. It would be so cool if a director could take this book and make it into a solid movie with a good cast and crew, with an 80s heavy metal soundtrack. That would be great. And this is a book that I would think would really make a good movie. If you have the right people on board, they could pull it off. It would be great. But anyway, that's my opinion on if this would be a film and who should be casting it. All right. All right. That is it for the review today. I hope you enjoyed it. And I will begin by next book in the Cyberpunk trilogy was Snow Crash. I will try to read much as I can so I can get a review up, hopefully in a few weeks or so. And I also want to read some horror. So I got one horror book that takes place on a golf course, so that should be interesting. Excuse me. And for my next book in the Summer Slaughter trilogy, I'll be reading David Mole's The First Blood, a really good book that is 100 times better than the movie. And I'll save that for a top list video I plan on doing about like top 5 films that are just terrible adaptations to the books they were based on. And the books are better of them, of course. All right. If you like this video, please like it, share it, and subscribe to the October Library YouTube channel and the Facebook group of the same name, a place you can post, share, and review fiction. Until then, I'll catch you later.